Welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be learning how to do this. Yes, we will be learning how to do Nuke flag effect inside of Nuke. There are no outside plugins that was used in this tutorial. Let's get started. So first I grab a picture in Google, typical American flag, and I added a card. You can just, for those who are new in Nuke, you could just press tab and type card. You can have that. Then you select it, press 1. You will be inside the 3D world, and while selecting the card, you can just press F, and then you will see the flag inside the 3D Nuke. So what I did to move the flag like a geo is I added a when I added a card, so this is the default setting of the card. First thing you need to do is go to the deform tab, switch type to bilinear, and I added, you could either add 6 or 10 on the XY points. It depends on how fast and strong your computer is. So for this tutorial, let's just put 6 as the number. And once you put the number in, just click new shape, and then it will ask you if you want to create the new shape, and just press yes. And then it will subdivide the card into many rows and columns. So that's how I made this card right here. Okay, so let's set that aside. The next thing I did is made a noise. Type a noise, that's the default setting. On the type, I switch it to turbulence, and I up the size a little bit, because for those who just started Nuke, the white information is the one that is visible, 100% opaque, and the black is invisible. So the bigger the white information, the bigger the wave will be on the flag. Now once I set that one up, I then animated a Z. Just animated probably 0. Let's try 1. 1 will be okay. All right, have a nice organic flow on the noise, and I from noise tab I switched to transform tab, and on the translate X I set key on frame 1 and a jump on frame 100, and I type let's say 6,000. So when you view your noise, it will move it like that, going to the right. That means that I want my wind to blow the flag to the right. Okay, so So you could play around with the lacunarity, the gain, or the gamma. We could try a little bit of the gamma right here, a little bit of the gain there, but be careful when you increase the gain because it will give out a lot of little details on the noise. So I'd rather have it this much right here. And from there, I created these two rotos right here. What it does is it puts a black information on both top and bottom left edge. So it doesn't have any information. So when everything is moving, these two that are affected by the roto is not going to move. So on my roto, after I added this ellipse tool, I switched the output to RGBA and I switched to no clip. And I double click on the swatch and I change the color to black. Okay. And then I modified the noise some more. I added grade, switch it to RGBA. I play around with the black and white points. I made the base of the white information more white so that it generates a opaque alpha. And I added a defocus right there, because if you don't add a defocus, you see all these details around the edges. It will give out little weird cracks on the flag as it moves, which I don't want it for now. So now that we established the noise, I added a displace geo right there. Just tab a displace geo, and the displace pick whip you connect it to the defocus, and the other one will be on the card. And play around with the scale. So my scale is 0.082, but be careful though, because the displace geo is very heavy. Okay, so from here, that's without the displace geo. This is with the displace geo. And if your laptop is very strong, then you could play the timeline. But if not, you could just skip on every 10 frames, because this one is really heavy. Like, see the one right there? Every frame, it calculates its displacement. So it's really going to be heavy. So let's go back to frame 1. And after that, I added another noise node. And same setup, a little grade and defocus. But the animation of the second noise is diagonal from the bottom to all the way on the upper right side. Just to give a different movement on the geo flag that we just created. So it gives it more organic look. And be careful again when you connect the displace geo to the tree because it's going to be really heavy. And After that, I added a camera. Just type camera right there. Right? You double click the camera. Then on the transform gizmo, you just move it. Move it to however you want. Make sure that it's facing the flag. And I animated the camera going from left to right. Excuse me. For those who are beginners, what you could do is you could move the camera here. To rotate it, just press Control and move on the appropriate axis. And on the camera properties, you could right click this square box beside the Z axis and set key, and rotation, set key. You jump on frame 50, wait for it. All right. Or we could jump in straight to frame 100, wait for the displaced geo to calculate, and you could rotate it on the other side, move it like that, like so. Now, once you move your camera, you will notice a line, a straight line that connects frame 1 to 100, and that is how your animation will look like. I was thinking I need a curve movement to emphasize more that it's inside a 3D world. So I want to go to frame 50, and I'm going to move the Z axis a little bit to the back, and you will see that the line will then curve right there. Don't make a mistake of playing it, because if your displaced geo is still connected, it's going to be really heavy. So be careful on playing this one. Okay. All right. I have to pause for a little while, see, because it's every frame that you move, the displaced geo will calculate, and sometimes it will crash your system. After you establish your camera animation, you can then press tab, make a scene, and I even made a light. Just press tab, make a light, and on the light node, you could just move the light in a specific direction, however you want. For the key light, I'm just gonna move it a little bit to the left. And on the light properties, you could increase the intensity to say 4, and you could adjust the color. So I was thinking maybe put the flag on a sunset color, so I switched the color to amber right there. You could play around with the settings if you want. I'm not gonna mess with the shadows here. I just need to focus on the light. So that's how I made a light, and I duplicated with another light here, and I switched the light type to directional. So if you double click the scene and you press 1, this is my virtual setup right here. So you can see the camera on the screen left, there's the key light on the screen left, and then there's the directional light at the bottom. And if you double click on the directional light, I switch the color to sky blue. Okay. And once I set everything up, okay, you could copy the setup right here if you want. Don't forget to add a scanline renderer. And from the scanline renderer, you could connect the camera, the object scene, Oops, it's a little heavy right there. Okay. And this pick whip right here that says BG, you could either connect something in it or you don't have to. I prefer not to connect anything. It doesn't really matter. And after that, I pre-comped it using a write node because this is way too heavy. And when I first rendered it, it took me at least 1.5 hours to render 100 frames. So I added a write node and I named it flag precomp dot %04d.tga targa, which is a decent file type, and it supports RGBA channels. And I switch the compression to none. See that one right there? That's the displaced geo that keeps calculating while we're connected to the scene. So I'm just gonna unhook it. Oh my goodness! Oh, keeps calculating. Okay, let me cancel that. All right. So I rendered it for 1.5 hours, and this is the result. It is not perfect by any means, but if you play it, it simulates like a real cloth and the air coming from the screen left, and it already has the key light and the fill light, which mimics the sunset. The thing that we could do after here is we could even add a distort effect using the distort node, the iDistort node. So from here, I gave it a little bit of color correct. I desaturated it of 0.8 because a real cloth, when it's up there, it's gonna desaturate with all the elements. With a distort effect, it's just a simple noise, um, type turbulence, XY size 850, and I added an animation on the Z right there. And on the transform tab, I animated the translate X and Y diagonally from the bottom up. And I added a grade and a blur just to clean up the noise. And I added 2 copy nodes. If you click the first copy node, my setting is RGB alpha to forward.u. You could switch it right there, forward.u. And the second copy is RGB alpha forward.v right there. So once you set it up, add an iDistort node. Okay, see the difference? After I added iDistort, it will give the footage an additional wave. Gives a much cooler details on the motion of the flag. And I play around with the UV scale. I did not touch UV offset since I don't really need it, but you could play it however you want. You could change the channels RGBA and UV channels to forward. And then once you connect it, let's press play. Give it a Give it a few seconds to RAM preview. That's how it looks like. There's a little weird distortion going on in a couple of frames, but you know, there are, you could use this one in a few different settings. I had a project once that needs a flag, but the 3D artists that worked on it forgot to simulate the flag. So our supervisor asked if I can make a flag straight from Nuke. So I did this one, but the flag was a little bit far from the camera, so I can get away with many things. So if you have this, you could definitely hook this up and use it, and nobody can tell if it's fake or not. So that's my flag setup. Now, next is I'm going to show you how I made the flagpole. So first thing is I added a model builder node. And from the model builder node, I click the first icon with all the objects in here. You click it and hold, and it will give you all the geos that you needed. So obviously I'm going to pick cylinder. I'm going to left click and drag, and I go to at the very bottom icon. I can click hold, and it will give me all the selections right here: vertices, edges, edge loops, faces, objects, and nodes. So I go to select object, right? Press F, and it gives me the transform gizmo. Now I can, if I press Control Shift, it will give me the scale gizmo. If I press Control, it will give me the rotation gizmo. So I want this cylinder a little bit longer. So I press Control Shift and just move the Y axis, which is the green box on top. Now I have that. And then I click another geo, which is a sphere. Click it there. I move it to a specific position there, right? And after that, I select the model that I just did, and I click at the bottom, selected geometry. I click bake, and it will register a baked sphere outside of model builder, which then you could use to add materials. And also the cylinder. Duplicate. Oh, no, not duplicate, but baked right there. So this two right here. Okay. Let me turn off my model builder node. And once I have my model builder node, I then grab a basic material node, and added a constant with an brown earth color. And on the far right pick whip, I connect the basic material node to the constant, and I connect the model builder geo cylinder 1 and sphere 1 straight to the basic material, and double click the basic material. But before that, you could merge these two geos using a merge geo, and my Nuke crash. Give me a second. All right, so we're back. So I have the geos that we generated on the model builder. From there, I added a transform geo. Transfer geo can have you extra controls to control two geos that are merged, and I move it to a specific location. I then just copy this setup right here from the flag. I copy that one and I paste it below the flagpole. But if you want to set up your own, you can. But I wanted the flagpole to move with the flag, so I need to have the similar setting. You can also, if you don't want to copy and paste this whole thing, you could actually grab a camera node and connect it through expression from camera 1. So let's switch this one to 2, and I'm gonna select my camera that is animated. Let's just copy this one just in case I messed it up. Select the one that has no animation and select the one that has the animation. And from here, you just go to the Translate X, press Shift, and drag it over here. Now it will connect an expression that whatever you do on camera 5, camera 4 will follow. So same thing, go to Translate Y, press Control, and left click and drag, left click and drag, left click and drag to the rotation. So now they are, so you will see a green line that says they are all connected. So whatever you do here, your camera 4 will follow. Okay? But I don't like it because of the green line, and if you put the other camera here, now it makes your viewport a little messy because of the green line. So I don't know how to hide it. I think there's an expression or there's a way to hide this green line, but I don't know how. So if you know it, then you can share it here, and I would appreciate it. All right. So let's go back to the poll. So once I had that set up, I double click the basic material and I just play around with the diffuse, the specular, and the minimum and maximum shininess to have this look right here, like a bronze type of flagpole. And I switch my view to 2D tab, view my flagpole, and I noticed that it has some jagged edges. I'm not sure how to eliminate this one inside a model builder, but you could cheat it through adding a blur. So what I did was I shuffled the flagpole. I shuffled it on its alpha channel right there, and I'm going to use this alpha to cut to limit the blur effect. which you could see here in the setup. So scanline render, and I added a blur, right? If you don't have the mask, it will blur out the edges right there, and I don't want that. So you use this right mask pick whip connected to the shuffle alpha, and then it will mask and limit the blur effect, thus creating an illusion that I have a smooth surface. And I added a color correct, give it a little bit of gamma of 0.475, give it saturation of 0.6, and from there let me unhook this one because I'm going to explain this part right here why I had a setup like that. So when I merge the flag to the flagpole and you play it, now it's starting to look okay, right? But what I notice is the interaction between the flag and the flagpole doesn't look as convincing. So it needs a little bit of shadow. Okay, so I added a fake shadow by shuffling the flag's alpha channel right there. If you can see this connection right here. And I filter erode it to -10. If you press A, you will see the alpha right there. It's expanded. And I gave it a little bit of blur of 44.5. And I use it as an alpha to copy premold a black constant, which then I merge it on top of the flagpole right there. And this one right here, I use the flagpole alpha to mask the shadow that I just created. So if I A/B it, now it has a shadow from the flag. So let me show you the before and after. So if I select this merge right here and I press D to disable, now it looks a little bit convincing compared without shadows. Okay. So now we've set up our flag and our flagpole. Next thing I did was make a background sky. So I grabbed a sky sensor cloud picture and I added a sphere right there. Click this, press 1, and connect the sphere to the image. And the image will be automatically wrapped around the sphere. You could go inside the sphere and it will act as a background of all the environment right there. And I just copied the camera setup with the scene and the scanline render. So that's the sky. Added a color. Added a defocus. And I merge it with my flag right there. And from there, once I merge the flag in the background, I added a light trap, diffuse 20, intensity 8, and I check 3 boxes here. generate wrap, disable luminance, and enable glow. And after I set up my light trap, I merge plus it on top of the flag and the background right there. So you could see the light trap right there. And from there, I added few ramps for color adjustments. Give your an illusion of the eye on the light direction. So down right there is a little dark, and this ramp right here and this ramp right here is for the light on screen left side there, and then this color correct right here is an additional bright settings on the screen left. And I added a blur plus. I just blur the whole footage and plus it on top of the existing footage to give it a heavenly look. And I added a silhouette. I mean not a silhouette, but a vignette. I added a vignette. So if you double click it, I have a rotor right there. So if I switch it to RGBA, you will see the information, and I invert it, blur it out, give it 150 on the blur value, and use a color correct mask to make your eyes be more focused on the flag. Okay? And then I added a little checkerboard setting right here. You don't have to. You could even add a grain node, which is pretty cool. Well, you have to hook it up there. So grain, if you go closer, right there, to have that film look, you could do that. But I kind of like this look right here. And add a crop at the bottom, and I wrote it as a JPEG sequence with a setting of quality of 1, sampling of 444, and I press render, switch it to global, press OK. And this is my final result. Press play, and that's it. Voila! You get the flag effect inside a Nuke. It's not going to be perfect, and you could use this one definitely if it's not too near the camera, if it's just playing in the background. You could use that one, and it works pretty well. And I've done it a couple of times. So hope you like my tutorial, and I hope you learned something, and hope it helps you on your production. Thank you very much, and see you guys on my next tutorial. Bye.